One evening, Gordon returned from the works, feeling as good as a young engine should. "Good evening," smiled Gordon. "How was everyone's week in my absence?" Nobody had anything to say. They all knew Edward had been pulling the express whilst he was away. James and Henry had to pull goods. Duck had to work on his coastal route. Percy had to take the mail. And Thomas, well, he was going to tell Gordon. "Well, Gordon, I had a great adventure while you were out," he said. "You did?" asked Percy. "Please tell us about it," said Henry. "Well," said Thomas, "this is how it happened, and this is the story told." While Edward was busy pulling the express, I had to do Edward's goods work. I liked it because I liked riffing trucks. The trucks bumped into each other, but I didn't care a bit. After a long day of shunting, I pulled back into Tidmouth. "Hello, Thomas," said Toby. "You look tired." "Yes, indeed," I yawned. "I'm starting to get bored of shunting trucks." "I recommend that you tell Sir Topham that you want a new job," suggested Toby. "Good idea," I replied. "I'll do it tomorrow." The next day I set off to find Sir Topham. I was puffing through the countryside when I met Arthur. "Hello, Thomas. What are you doing here?" "I'm looking for Sir Topham Hatt. I was just wondering if I could do a different job other than shunting Edward's trucks. He's having an important meeting with Mr. Percival at the main office on the Skarloey Railway. Sorry, I can't stop. I must be off." Maybe I should go and see Sir Topham Hatt right away. To my left was an old track. "Flatten my funnel," I said. "I wonder what's down the old line." So I set off. The track I was on was old and rusty. It was near the mountains where the narrow gauge engines were, but I didn't realise that until a few minutes later. I then stopped on a hill. "Well," I said. There, above me, was an old abandoned town, just south of Rumbling Bridge. "I think this must be where the little engines used to work," I thought. "This track must lead to it." But what I didn't know is that the track was so old and rusty it couldn't hold an engine's weight. I was just setting off when it happened. I was too heavy and the rails buckled. I rolled down a hill and crashed into a muddy ditch. "Oh!" Luckily, no one was hurt. My driver and fireman had jumped clear. Later, the Fat Controller telephoned Knapford station master. "Have you seen Thomas?" he asked. "No, I haven't," replied the station master. "Why?" "He's not in the yards. He's causing confusion and delay. He must be in trouble. I'll send Harold the helicopter to look for him." After a short while, Harold called out from the skies. "I've found Thomas!" he exclaimed. "He's off the rails. I better get help." Whilst I was stuck in the mud, Skarloey came down the line. He stopped in front of the old track. He was surprised to see me. "Thomas," said Skarloey, "what are you doing here?" "Skarloey," I gasped, "I wasn't expecting to see you here. How did you find me?" "I saw Harold. He told me where you were." And then Skarloey told me that Percy was bringing Rocky to rescue me. In a matter of minutes, Harold and Rocky arrived from the search and rescue centre. Peter Sam had also arrived. He wanted to make sure that everything was okay and bought special supplies for the workmen. Rocky was able to use his arm to get me back on the rails. At last, I was back on the rails. "Thank you, Rocky," I said. "I found Rumbling Bridge and an old line near it." "So," said Thomas, If it wasn't for me, the Skarloey Railway would have run out of business without the rumbling bridge. All the engines were very proud of Thomas for being a really useful engine on Sir Topham Hatt's railway.